Indoctrination is the term used for the brainwashing effect the Reapers and their technology have on organic beings. A signal or energy field surrounds the Reaper, which subtly influences the minds of any organic individual in range. It was first reported to Commander Shepard by farmers on Eden Prime, who claimed there was a horrible noise emanating from Sovereign as it descended. Matriarch Benezia said that even Sovereign's interior serves indoctrination. The strange angles of the rooms are confusing and make you uncertain of yourself. The effect seems to extend to Reaper artifacts, such as the one brought aboard the MSV Cornucopia that brainwashed her crew. Indoctrination is one of the most insidious weapons the Reapers have in their arsenal. As Vigil explains, indoctrinated slaves from conquered planets were used during the last Reaper incursion as sleeper agents. They were taken in by other Protheans as refugees, who then betrayed their own kind to the machines. But the Reapers viewed them as disposable. When they disappeared back through the Citadel relay, the Reapers abandoned their indoctrinated slaves, leaving them to starve or die of exposure. The unsettling reality of indoctrination, however, is that it's actually possible. Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and today we're looking into Reaper Indoctrination from the Mass Effect universe, and looking at examples of how indoctrination is not only possible, but has happened. And we have evidence of it. Information about indoctrination is spotty at best, but this explanation is taken directly from the Codex of Mass Effect. The precise mechanics of the indoctrination effect are poorly understood. It is believed that the Reapers generate an electromagnetic field, waves of infrasound and ultrasound, or all of the above, in order to stimulate areas of a victim's brain and limbic system. The resulting effect varies depending on the intent of the Reaper. The victim may suffer headaches and hallucinations, have feelings of being watched, or paranoia, or come to view the Reaper itself with superstitious awe. Ultimately, the Reaper gains the ability to use the victim's body to amplify its signal, manifesting as voices within the victim's mind. The functional components behind indoctrination are a complete mystery, but the methods are something we've seen in the real world and have been extensively documented. Infrasound refers to sound waves with frequencies below the human hearing range, typically under 20 Hz. While humans cannot consciously perceive infrasound, exposure to it can still have various effects on the human body, particularly at higher intensities or prolonged durations. Infrasound can cause a number of effects such as nausea and dizziness, headaches, respiratory issues, fatigue, anxiety, uneasiness, fear, panic, decreases in concentration, altered perceptions, and even cardiovascular issues. Prolonged exposure to infrasound can induce sensations of nausea, dizziness, or vertigo. This is likely due to the resonance of low-frequency vibrations with body tissues or organs, particularly the inner ear, which plays a critical role in balance. Infrasound exposure can sometimes trigger headaches or migraines in sensitive individuals. There is some evidence suggesting that high-intensity infrasound may affect breathing, possibly causing a sensation of chest pressure or difficulty in breathing. Some people report feelings of extreme tiredness or lethargy after exposure to infrasound. Though this is more commonly associated with high-amplitude exposures, many of these symptoms eerily match those of indoctrination. But these, whilst unpleasant, are relatively minor issues proportionally limited to our physiology. But infrasound exposure can get a whole lot worse when those effects bridge over to our psychological well-being as well. Infrasound can trigger a sense of unease or anxiety, possibly due to its influence on the autonomic nervous system. This response may also relate to the way low-frequency vibrations are interpreted by the brain, even if they aren't consciously heard. Infrasound has been linked to feelings of fear or even panic, a phenomenon sometimes called the fear frequency. Some researchers hypothesize that natural sources of infrasound, like earthquakes or storms, might trigger a survival instinct in humans, causing feelings of impending danger or dread. Since infrasound waves can cause vibrations in tissues, they may create a sensation of physical unease or discomfort. This might be part of why certain low-frequency sounds are perceived as alarming or disturbing. Continuous infrasound exposure may lead to difficulties in concentration or focus. It might affect mental clarity, particularly if it causes discomfort or unease. Although infrasound is below the hearing threshold, prolonged exposure to high-intensity infrasound may still cause damage to the auditory system or to sensitive inner ear structures, meaning even after exposure has abated, there may still be long-term side effects. For anyone who has experienced tinnitus, a consistent high-pitched tone in your ears or general earache can have adverse effects on how you feel overall and bring on repeated headaches. Some research suggests that prolonged exposure to infrasound may influence heart rate or blood pressure. However, this area of research is still developing, and the long-term effects on cardiovascular health remain uncertain. It may be this exact effect on our mental faculties that could be linked to the experiences felt by those being actively indoctrinated by a Reaper. A study by Vic Tandy, a British engineer, found that infrasound at around 19 Hz could cause the eyeballs to vibrate slightly, potentially leading to visual disturbances or the illusion of seeing shadowy figures or movements. This might explain some ghost sightings in environments with strong infrasound sources like old buildings or factories. This realization came about as a direct result of his own experience while working late at a laboratory. Tandy reported feeling a strong sense of dread and even saw a ghostly figure in his peripheral vision. Upon investigation, he discovered that a newly installed fan was generating infrasound at a frequency of about 19 Hz. When the fan was turned off, the eerie sensations and ghostly sightings stopped. This experiment led Tandy to propose that infrasound could explain some paranormal experiences, particularly those involving feelings of presence or visual phenomena. Infrasound can also affect the inner ear, which is responsible for balance and spatial orientation. Disruptions to the inner ear could cause dizziness or disorientation, leading someone to feel off balance, or as if something is wrong with the space around them, heightening the sense of paranormal activity. It is worth noting, however, that the psychological effects of infrasound are highly subjective, meaning that different people may experience it in various ways. While one person may feel anxiety or see shadows, another might feel nothing at all. This variability could explain why some people have paranormal experiences in supposedly haunted locations while others do not, and may also explain why Reapers employ ultrasound and electromagnetic signals as well as infrasound to influence more individuals with more stimuli across a broader range, ensuring more people are indoctrinated. Ultrasound, for example, refers to sound waves with frequencies above the upper limit of human hearing, typically over 20,000 Hz. While ultrasound is widely used in medical imaging and industrial applications, it can have certain effects on human physiology and, in some cases, human psychology. Prolonged or high-intensity exposure to ultrasound may lead to a range of psychological effects, including the more generalized disturbed sleep patterns, anxiety, tinnitus, and vivid dreams or nightmares, as well as more acute symptoms like phantom perception of sound, heightened state of arousal, and hypervigilance. In some cases, people exposed to ultrasound may believe they are hearing sounds that don't exist or are distorted versions of real sounds. This can contribute to a sense of confusion or disorientation. Continuous exposure to ultrasound might activate the body's fight or flight response. This is due to the body's sensitivity to unusual stimuli even if they aren't consciously perceived. The body might respond to the sensation of ultrasound waves in a way that increases heart rate and alertness, leading to a feeling of being on edge. A person exposed to ultrasound over a long period may become more sensitive to changes in their environment, leading to hypervigilance. This heightened state of awareness, while intended to be protective, can become mentally exhausting over time and contribute to anxiety or paranoia. It's again very easy to see how ultrasound can affect the human body in physiological and psychological ways, and how that can be extrapolated over to Reaper indoctrination, but the final piece of the indoctrination puzzle is electromagnetic fields. EMFs, particularly those in the low frequency range, may interfere with the brain's electrical activity. Some studies have shown that exposure to certain levels of electromagnetic radiation can affect brain function, including hallucinations, cognitive changes, memory disturbances, disorientation, and even disturbed sleep. High EMF exposure may disrupt sleep patterns, potentially leading to vivid dreams, nightmares, or sleep paralysis. Feelings of unease, anxiety, or fear. Some researchers, including Michael Persinger, have suggested that exposure to certain EMFs, especially those that affect the temporal lobe of the brain, may induce feelings of fear, anxiety, or the sense of a presence in the room. This idea is known as the temporal lobe lability hypothesis. Some individuals may be more sensitive to EMF exposure, especially in the temporal lobe area, which is associated with memory, emotion, and perception. Brief, mild seizures in this part of the brain could lead to paranormal-like experiences, including visions or auditory hallucinations. The sensation of being watched or followed can be triggered by electromagnetic stimulation of certain areas of the brain. So to round this all up, while infrasound itself is not consciously perceived by the ear, it can still affect the body through resonance and stimulation of various physiological systems. The effects can range from mild discomfort to severe anxiety and disorientation, depending on the intensity and duration of exposure. Ultrasound is typically inaudible to humans. Its effects on the body and mind can be profound, particularly at high intensities or over extended periods of time. Discomfort, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, headaches, auditory hallucinations, and other psychological disturbances can occur as a result of prolonged exposure. And while EMFs themselves are not inherently paranormal, they may explain why people experience sensations often attributed to ghosts, such as feelings of unease, hallucinations, and the sense of being watched. And if you're anything like me, this journey of discovery has likely led you to the inexorable conclusion that we can be influenced on a subliminal level by an array of different signals and frequencies which can adversely affect how you perceive reality and the world around you. It calls into question how you can be certain that the reality you're experiencing at any given time is actually objectively real, or simply a consequence of your brain trying to make sense of a reality filled with unintelligible signals, and may even lead you to believe that our only hope is to turn to our machine god overlords and pray the Reapers take from you the illusion of free will and grant you the sole purpose of furthering the goals of the harvest, bringing to a close this cycle of life with efficiency and incomprehensible purpose. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future content, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. It really does help the channel out significantly. Feel free to pop a comment below on anything you'd like me to cover next, and before signing off I just want to give a shout to my Patreon supporters, Spartan10148, my singular contender class ancilla, Falcon, Jordan and Poseidon, the metarchs of my facility, Sylphia, Ashley, Esoteric, Spartan 1029 and Chris Allen, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Legion, Labrat, Spartan 137, Chris, Element 0, J3, Mr. Keys, Gunslinger Cult, Evermore's Personal Devil, Scion Esports, and Saber, my diligent sub-monitors, my dominating fleet of Strato Sentinels, and my loyal enforcers, and all other patrons who continue to support the channel. I can't thank you guys enough. Big props to my Tier 0 YouTube members, Spartan 137, Talia, Fenrir, Bornstella, and Jimbo, and all other YouTube members keeping the installation running on that glorious vacuum energy. And if you really love what I'm doing here, consider supporting the channel via the links in the description. Much love, take it easy, and find peace in the domain.